Hello, welcome to RWR Plays TEW2020. This is our local to global series, and we are here booking RWR The May the Earth Stood Still. And we've obviously, I took a bit of time off. Well, I didn't take a bit of time off. What I mean is that after the last episode, I needed to take it away and have a look at what we were going to do for this show because we left you on a bunch of cliffhangers when it came to the last episode. Obviously, the main one being Blitzkrieg is going off to the UWE. He's signed the UWA, I should say. He signed a written deal with them, much like Michael Modest did some time ago. And we are now in a position where this will be his last show, and we need to mark it in some way. And we also need to kind of move on the stories and various bits and pieces at the same time. And I've come up with something, and I'm hoping that you'll like it. So let's start with the first thing. And the first thing of that is that ECMO is going to turn. We're going to do another turn. I feel like um, the sort of the way in which I'm doing babyface and heel turns at the moment, and the regularity of them, if anything, is starting to approach, a bit more a territory which I'm not usually very comfortable with. But we're, I'm enjoying what I'm doing in terms of the booking for this promotion, which is really not planning very much ahead, and also trying to adapt to the things that take place in the game world as we go. And I'm enjoying doing that. So even though it's not necessarily the most comfortable thing to me, I'm going to do that. Now, let me explain what we're going to do with ECMO. We're going to start this show with Blitzkrieg coming out and um, making it clear that he's leaving. Blitzkrieg tells the fans this will be his last night in RWR. ECMO challenges him to a match. So effectively, what this is going to be is Blitzkrieg coming out and saying, he has to be honest with the fans. Well, we'll get into that. We'll get into the detail when we actually run through the show in the show notes. So that's what is going to happen here. That's going to be the opening to the show. And that is going to be followed up very quickly by Blitzkrieg versus ECMO. But this one is only going to go 4 minutes. When we're going to have all-out match, I think, for this one. And what's going to happen is it's going to be thrown out. We're going to do sports entertainment finish. No, actually, we're just going to do double DQ because I think that makes more sense. Effectively, the referee's going to lose control of the match. And so it's going to go to a draw. And then we bring that down. Then after this, what we're going to have is we're going to have Bruce Hart come out and say that as both wrestlers have been unable to kind of control themselves, he's going to referee. He's going to restart the match, and he's going to be the referee for it. Okay, so that's what's going to happen then. Oh no, I don't want that to be what we do. We want to take this one and move it here. So then we have another Blitzkrieg ECMO match. I told you this was going to be. I guess this was always going to be a little bit convoluted, but these two are actually going to have a proper match then. It's going to go 11 minutes, and Blitzkrieg's going to get the win. I think we'll make this a bit of a wild brawl type thing to give them like a proper whatever. And we're going to have Bruce Hart referee this match. No, we'll make it 9 minutes if ECMO is going to struggle to get through it. 2 segment. Okay, so that comes straight after. So this is all the opening kind of part of the show. And then after the match, ECMO is going to attack Bruce Hart. Blitzkrieg celebrates and walks away. ECMO attacks Bruce Hart. We'll keep it at 6 minutes. So that is how we're going to open the show, with these 5 segments, and ECMO ultimately turning heel in this one, in this angle here. We are going to have then this match is going to come down here. And after that match, we're going to have another angle where James Storm, because we said these two are going to go to a time limit finish. I will just check that that's what I had. And basically, Kid Chaos walked away satisfied with the draw, obviously, and James Storm is angry. So it's just sort of a way of keeping that story going between them. I just checked that we did go for, yeah, so we've gone for the 15-minute time limit finish between James Storm and Kid Chaos. Then we got the tag team match, Ace Steel and Barry Buchanan versus Buddy Wayne and Sean Stasiak, which is going to come down here. In fact, it's going to go there. And I didn't have a winner to this one. Well, I've made the decision that Barry Buchanan is going to pin Sean Stasiak in this one. So that's how that one's going to affect. In fact, we'll make this the storytelling match, I think. That's if we didn't have a storytelling match elsewhere. There now, work the crowd. Let's get rid of that. It's got to be a regular, this one. I think this should be the storytelling match, actually. Let's do that. And then we'll remove storytelling from this one. So then after that, we're going to have the 4-way match, which is Rocco Rock, Johnny Grunge, Dog, and Rose. And then after that, we're going to have Dave Batista versus Roddy Piper for the title. Let's just check we've got everything in place for this one. Yeah, Rocco Rock. Another wild brawl. Quite a few wild brawls on this one. Regular match between these two. And obviously, then after this, we're going to have Roddy Piper. Blitzkrieg comes out. Piper and Blitzkrieg thank the fans and say goodbye. So this is kind of like to separate Blitzkrieg from all the stuff between ECMO and Bruce Hart earlier on. We thought we'd have final goodbye from Blitzkrieg along with Roddy Piper. Maybe Roddy Piper says, "Yeah, I want Blitzkrieg to come out here and join me to say thank you and goodbye to the fans," and he does, and that's how we do it. So this is the show, and I'm going to go through all of that in a bit more detail when we do the show. I just checked the booking analysis to make sure it's what we want. So Piper's furious with the booking of the main event. That's fine. He's going after this show, so that's not a problem. We're not using Charlie Haas or C.W. Anderson. It's going to be a relatively expensive show and a pretty long one, 98 minutes. So that's pretty cool. And let's just go with it. Have I done everything? I'm just worried now. I haven't done anything. Storylines, that's a good idea. Let's change this up. So obviously this kind of comes to an end. What I'm going to do is I'm going to remove Dave Batista from this. And then we're going to add into this one Bruce Hart. That's fine. That's going to continue to be fine, I think. Yeah, all the others are fine. Buddy Wayne is still in this. I don't think we need him in it, do we, really? Can't remember what he's doing on this show. He's in the tag team match. Tempted to remove Buddy Wayne from this story because I don't think he's part of it, to be honest, anymore. Right, here we go then. So 77 people are here for the May the Earth Stood Still. And we start off with Blitzkrieg coming out in front of the crowd and telling them all that he has had the most amazing time in the Random Wrestling Review. It's been an incredible honor for him to perform for all these great fans. He was proud to be the RWR North West champion, but it's time for him to move on to pastures new. He's accepted a deal to go work for UWA, and he says he's going to go there and kick Michael Modest's bottom for all the fans, trying to keep it PG as we go. Segment rating here of 27. As after that, ECMO comes out and says, "Okay, well, you can't go but without facing me. Okay, last month or 2 months ago, I should say, you cost me the RWR North West title, and I know that you think you did that in retaliation for me costing you the title, but you know that that was not intentional. Blitzkrieg says it was never intentional that he cost ECMO the title, and he agrees to face ECMO in a match right here, right now. And despite the segment rating of 27, neither Blitzkrieg or ECMO did very well here, so that's a bizarre situation, but there we go. Then Blitzkrieg takes on ECMO in that match. It's 4 minutes 20 seconds and it ends in a double DQ when neither performer are willing to listen to the referee, who then throws the match out, having lost control. And Blitzkrieg here, an in-ring performance of 37, ECMO 28, a segment rating of 25. I mean, it is such a shame we're losing Blitzkrieg because he is so easily the best wrestler on the roster, certainly in ring. Then we go to the angle that takes place straight after, which is basically Bruce Hart coming out and saying, look, I'm not having this match end this way. This is Blitzkrieg's last match. These fans deserve to see him one more time in the ring. The match is going to continue straight right now, and I'm going to referee it so that there's no more silliness. Segment rating only of 17. Bruce Hart obviously not particularly exciting or popular, despite what we're trying to do here. So then they have their match, and Blitzkrieg wins in 8:39 by pinfall with a Sky Twister press. Blitzkrieg, an in-ring performance of only 23, ECMO 27. That's interesting. Maybe having Blitzkrieg in a sort of wild brawl is not at all his forte, and that's fair enough. Obviously, Bruce Hart was the special guest referee as well for this one, segment rating of 24 anyway. Then after the match, Blitzkrieg walks off having celebrated his victory, and finally ECMO attacks Bruce Hart, blaming Bruce Hart for the loss, and basically wanting to turn heel. Unfortunately, we didn't book that this should be a heel turn here, so that's really annoying. We'll do it in the next show. But anyway, ECMO attacks Bruce Hart and leaves him lying. So basically, a segment rating here of 26 as we get Bruce Hart kind of now involved in this story. Now for the rest of the show, and it starts with James Storm and Kid Chaos in a match that goes 15 minutes when the time limit expired, and this is not a good performance from Kid Chaos of 15 here. James Storm at 23. The story is advanced but lost heat. Segment rating of 21, so not the best advancement of this story, but nevertheless it is one of our lesser ones, and they have a draw here, which means James Storm is left angry by the result, whilst Kid Chaos walks off satisfied with having got another match against James Storm where James Storm has been unable to beat him. Apparently both men improvised well throughout the segment, but it's still only got a segment rating of 20, so nothing really that impressive going on. Then we have Ace Steel and Barry Buchanan versus Buddy Wayne and Shawn Stasiak. Now, this is important because you'll remember from last episode that both Ace Steel and Buddy Wayne were on 4 points apiece. So the winner of this would be in a very good place to be the number one contender. And Ace Steel and Barry Buchanan have won the match. 12 minutes and 12 seconds. Barry Buchanan pinned Shawn Stasiak with an axe kick. A segment rating of 30. You can see here Shawn Stasiak was a 31 in the ring. Ace Steel a 29. Buddy Wayne a 25. Barry Buchanan a 27. In general, that seems to be their ceiling for each of these wrestlers. So this is about as good a match as it could be. Although Shawn Stasiak was really off his game, so maybe there's more to come from Stasiak. And then the next match is the four-way dance. It's Johnny Grunge, Rocco Rock, Dog, and Rose. And again, you'll remember that this was important because all four of these men were on 4 points going into this show. So again, the winner of this match would be in a good place to become number one contender. Segment rating of 26 here. Rocco Rock gets the win when he pins Dog with a drive-by, 9:41. And again, Rocco Rock 31, Johnny Grunge 26. The two Bad Crew guys under 20, as always. And I think in the gap between this episode and the last episode, I have made the decision that Bad Crew aren't going to last very much longer in the promotion. I don't think they aren't very good performers. There's not very much more I can do with the Public Enemy Bad Crew feud, and I think we're coming to the end of their feud. But anyway, segment rating of 26, and Dog was visibly tiring towards the end. Then the main event, Dave Batista versus Roddy Piper, a huge segment rating of 37, obviously because of Roddy Piper's contributions here, a 46 in-ring performance, although Batista got a 26, which I think is probably about his best we've had since he's come in. 10 minutes 27, Batista wins using a foreign object and makes defense number 2 of the RWR North West Title. But a rating of 37, as I say, the best rating, I think, the best match rating we've ever had. Thank you, Rowdy Roddy Piper. You were definitely a sound investment for us. And then after this, we have the show closing angle where Roddy Piper, having won the match, takes the microphone. Having lost the match, Batista walks away. Roddy Piper takes the microphone, and he says that he wants to thank the fans for the way they've welcomed him to promotion. He's sorry that he couldn't get the job done tonight. He'd like to bring out Blitzkrieg because Blitzkrieg's obviously had a really big history in this company, and the two of them say thank you and goodbye to the fans together for a segment rating of 47. And yes, this is the end of both Piper's brief spell in the company and Blitzkrieg's pretty long spell. I mean, he was, I think, the second longest running member of the roster left, behind obviously Buddy Wayne. And that's the end of the show, and probably, I'm certain, our best show yet. An overall rating of 36. Some good matches, some good angles, and I'm really pleased with that. I'm really enjoying the kind of the ad hoc adjustments I have to make to the stories or the direction I'm going in because of people leaving the company. So even though I don't want Blitzkrieg to leave the company, it did make for a fun thing. I'm not going to give Piper any praise because he's going, so it's not going to help me to do so. I think what we will do though, and nor has any interest in doing Blitzkrieg, so we will compliment Sean Stasiak on a good performance because once again he was really good. I think Dave Batista because he had probably his best performance in the ring, and I also think that I'd like to give Ace Steel a compliment as well. Actually, I'm going to give Ekmo a compliment because I think he performed pretty well throughout his segments. So well done to him too. So that's May's show. All kinds of stuff going on there. That was a pretty big one, I think. What have we got here? Piper's gone. Blitzkrieg's hired. We knew that already. So Blitzkrieg will be going as well before the end of the month, or actually before the next show. Looking at the finances, we actually made a profit last month despite using Roddy Piper, and it looks like we might do the same in May. So that gives us food for thought in terms of who we're going to bring in, because now we've got not only a gap that Piper has left, I should say, if I can get my words out, but also a gap that Blitzkrieg will be leaving as well. And feedback's been very positive for our last show, so that's really good. Size has not gone up in any noticeable way, but all the good. And we've got RWR apparently going to re-sign with WWF in the middle of 1998. So let's proceed to the end of the current month. And obviously this gives me a little bit of time to take some breath. And thank you all for watching today, of course. We've still got a few minutes of this episode to go. But before kind of we go on to what's next, just want to ask you if you could give us a like if you've enjoyed watching along, and if you could subscribe if you haven't already done. And we have seen a good increase in subscribers as of late, so that's really, really pleasing to see. I hope you're enjoying this series. I hope you're enjoying the reviewing every match in WrestleMania history series, which goes up every morning, Monday to Friday. With a new match. These are all clips from our WrestleMania series that we did on the podcast, reviewing every single WrestleMania show, which we've continued through to WrestleMania 41, and we will continue on when WrestleMania 42 happens also. So that's plugs out of the way, and now we got to start thinking about our next show. Well, I've already decided what the main event is, and that was why that was another thing I was thinking about in the gap between episodes was how we're going to handle the next title match. Well, the next title match is going to be Dave Batista versus Rocco Rock versus Ace Steel in a triple threat match. So you've got Rocco Rock and Ace Steel both now on 5 points. Obviously, Piper's gone, so he's no longer got his points. And they both got 5 points. They're both in position to be the number one contender, and the decision is going to be made that Batista will face both in a triple threat match. Again, I'm going against my sort of natural instincts to not do triple threat matches. You'll notice when I did my WCW series, I barely ever went near multi-man or multi-way matches, and I only did it when, if I did it more often than not when it wasn't for a title. I don't mind doing them for number one contenders matches, but for titles, it just feels like a wrong thing to do. It feels completely unfair to the champion. But again, I'm kind of enjoying booking this the RWR in a kind of different way, in a sort of way that isn't quite so natural, doesn't come quite so natural to me. So, and this one felt like it had a storyline reason to happen, and we'll get to why when we book the show and when we put the show out. But I'll be honest, I don't know what else I'm going to do on the night, and I also don't know who we're going to bring in the next for the next month, because we've actually only got a roster of 14 people now. That's not actually a big problem. The game doesn't care about that, but I quite like having a roster of 16 wrestlers. It's been going quite well. Let's have a look at WCW Slamboree 1998 before we do anything else. And Rey Mysterio Jr. defeats Ric Flair to retain the World Heavyweight title. When did Rey Mysterio Jr. become the champion? I mean, not that I'm complaining. A 97 rated match. We also had Hulk Hogan defeated Headshrinker Fatu in a cell match. Randy Savage and Lex Luger defeat Nasty Boys and Brian Pillman and Sting. Oh, in a triple threat tag team match. Urban Gladiators defeated Team Amazement. We had one of these is Urban Gladiators, Ed Leslie and John Tenta, and the other one is the other team. Okay, I didn't see Rey Mysterio Jr. become champion when it happened. So let's have a look and see when that happened. It's cool that he's champion. He beat Lex Luger on Sunday week 4. No, so Monday week 2 on Nitro. So Rey Mysterio beat Lex Luger on Nitro, and he's now the champion. That's pretty cool, in fairness. So yeah, what are we going to do? Well, first things first, we need to come up with an event name for our June show. We've done three-way, haven't we? So we're not going to do that again. So RWR, what's this one going to be called? I say what? Three-way again. That's what we're going to do. In fact, let's call it three-way returns. Yeah, three-way returns. So again, only an hour and a half. We might up that though, because we are financially perfectly fine to have more wrestlers on the roster, I think. So three-way returns is going to be the next show, 12 days time. Now, as I say, we're going to look at who we could pick up here, because as I say, we've lost Blitzkrieg. Roddy Piper's contract's run out, which was always by design, and it's now time to think about who we want to bring in. Now, I've been looking at Rocky Maivia, and I think I might just do it now. I was looking at him for a while. He's there. He's available. He is working for 2 promotions. Let's just look at when he's available. So he's not available on the Fridays. That's going to be. I mean, we could just make our shows Thursday, to be honest, to make way for him. But because it's not a big deal whether it's on Friday or Saturday. Let's just check that we can do that with our other wrestlers. In fact, the next show, we've got a big problem. ECW are running a show on the same night, so that's because I booked it on a Friday. Thursdays would be a problem. No, Thursdays are fine. Thursdays are okay. So let's first of all change this to a Friday. What was I thinking about having that on a Saturday? That was going to clash with ECW. So now everybody's available. If we were to move our shows to a Thursday, that would be fine as well, because Blitzkrieg, who I think will be no longer with us by that next show. I mean, he can't be anyway. We've written him out. 9 days. Yeah, that's fine. So I think we can start to. I think what we will do is start to have these shows on a Thursday night. I just think it doesn't make any difference what night we have it on. So Three Way Returns is actually going to be on a Thursday, and that's fine. So yeah, in comes The Rock, and obviously Ekmo's happy about that. Although I don't think I'm going to play up the fact that Rocky Maivia and Ekmo are related in any way. I have 100 covered, that's fine. So Rocky Maivia has been signed by Random Wrestling Review. I love it. I mean, I really love it. I love that the game has ultimately not caught on to how good Rocky Maivia actually is in real life. Now, who else are we going to get? Rob Van Dam, possibly? I mean, this is the thing we've got. Oh, he's injured at the moment. We have got money, and we've got the ability to bring in these quite big names. I mean, we could bring in Matt Hardy. I've been thinking about bringing in a Hart, actually. I've been thinking about bringing in. I mean, I don't suppose Keith Hart is in the game, and he's an occasional wrestler. And obviously, what happened with Bruce last time. I'm tempted to do this. I'm tempted to bring in Keith Hart. Um, that's fine. So he's very cheap as well. He won't be very good, but he's a natural. He's a natural kind of extension into the feud that we've just kicked off between ECMO um Bruce Hart. What's here? Bad Crew 1 has been hired by ECW. Don't know which one that one is. CW Anderson has been hired by ECW. So we've got lots of guys who've been hired by ECW, but on handshake deals, so that's fine. Buddy Wayne has gone from average to toned, so he's trying his best to kind of put himself back in line to be the top guy. But yeah, Rocky Maivia and Keith Hart, two different wrestlers. I'm not sure you could have in terms of who we're bringing in next. I'm just going to address one thing, which is to change the name of this story, because it is now ECMO versus Bruce Hart. Blitzkrieg will obviously be out of it by the next show. See, I've got really thinking now about what I'm going to do with this next show in terms of the undercard. I hadn't really made a decision on this stuff. Because there's a lot of different things I've got to consider. I had been considering doing a 6-man tag match, which would see Johnny Grunge, Buddy Wayne, and Sean Stasiak teaming together. Let's just have a look and see what's happened here. Okay, that's The Rock in. Monday Night Raw, anything interesting? Undertaker defeated Owen Hart to retain the World Heavyweight title. So Undertaker's still champion in WWF in the main event of that one. This is their taped. So this is where they're still taping Raw once every 2 weeks. Combat Toyota became a new women's champion with a win over Alundra Blaze. So that was on Nitro, I presume. Yeah, in the opener. Cool. We're going to get another interruption here because of when Keith Hart signs. But yeah, Johnny Grunge, Buddy Wayne, and Sean Stasiak against Bad Crew and Barry Buchanan, I think. So let's sign Keith Hart and move on to the next player controlled show. So yeah, that was in my mind. Sean, what am I doing? Yeah, Barry Buchanan and Bad Crew to face Johnny Grunge, Buddy Wayne, and Sean Stasiak. That kind of ties in with the sort of main event, because obviously Johnny Grunge's teammate is in the main event, as is Barry Buchanan's kind of friend, if you like. What else we can do? We're going to have, I think, Charlie Haas against CW Anderson. We've held these two back for this show in another rematch, so that we had something at this show that was also story driven. Now we've just got to find a few other bits and pieces. We've got to find where Keith Hart kind of slots in. Obviously, it seems obvious that he should go up against ECMO, or at least come in to take on ECMO or do something with ECMO. And Rocky Maivia, I think I might just have Rocky Maivia make a debut, rather than do anything, massively important. It's just whether he's a babyface or a heel. And let's have a look. Some interesting news here. And Arn Anderson may find himself in the midst of a bidding war after rumors began circulating that WWF are seriously interested in making him a lucrative offer to come and work for them. So Arn Anderson obviously has got a lot of different. I wonder if can I negotiate with him? No, he's rejected. If I could have just, I obviously wasn't going to be able to get him to side him, but I was just interested to see who was in on him, who was bidding for him. Blitzkrieg has left RWR. Rocco Rock has been offered a contract by WWC. Now that could be a big problem. I think WWC might be you're looking to give him an exclusive offer. Let's hope not. Let's hope they just want to book him on a handshake deal, and that it's not exclusive in any way. WCW have extended the deal with Bobby Heenan, so he's staying with that company. Okay, well, I think that's basically all the time we've got left for this episode. Thank you for joining. As I said earlier on in the show, we'll be back again. I believe this is the Tuesday episode, I think. So we'll be back again on Thursday. We're going to keep that kind of that schedule going as long as we possibly can. And we'll catch you next time.